Hi, JK friends. It's Miss Elias here, and I want to let you know that one of my favorite things to do is go to museums. I like to learn about new things, see new things, and explore different collections. Now, I've been spending a little bit more time at home, as I'm sure you have too, and I've been taking tours of museums on their websites, and that has been a lot of fun. Since we've been talking about collections, I put together a few unique and interesting collections in museums that I found while I was taking these tours on my computer that I want to show you. Let's review what a collection is. I had a lot of fun looking at Miss Morneau's bird's nest collection that she showed us. I remember that she showed us some of her bird's nests from her porch that stay on her porch that are inside her house. She had 10 of them. They were all together. And I remember that Miss Morneau told us that a collection is a group of things that all have something in common. They're all put together for some reason. All of Miss Morneau's objects in her collection were birds' nests. I'm so excited to see all the different collections that all of you come up with. This is a museum called Lunchbox Museum in Columbus, Georgia, that has all, you guessed it, lunchboxes. During this tour, I invite you to pause this video at any time. You can share what you see, what you think, and what you wonder about any of these pictures, just like we do at school. I'll share some of my ideas that I notice, and I also invite you to share your ideas. I am seeing a lot of lunchboxes here. I'm noticing that some are in display cases and some are arranged on chairs. And I'm wondering how they decided to put some of these lunchboxes in the glass display cases. I wonder if there's something special about those. I'm reading the words. It says some of the rarest lunchboxes in the United States. So that makes me think that those lunchboxes in the glass display case must be extra special. This museum seems like a lot of fun. I'm going to move my talking box over so that you can see. One of the really cool features of this museum is that you can taste the ramen at this museum. This is an entire museum about instant ramen. Connection, if you like ramen, if you've had it in a restaurant or you've made it at home. I like both kinds of ramen. This museum looks really cool. I love how the ramen is displayed on the walls and goes all the way up the ceiling. It's kind of like those people are walking in a tunnel of instant ramen. That seems like a pretty cool collection of ramen. Here we are at the Bata Shoe Museum, and this shoe museum is in Ontario, Canada, in Toronto, in Ontario, in Canada. And these shoes are beautiful and all different types of shoes. I'm wondering where all of these shoes came from and how they decided to choose these shoes. This museum is really interesting. This museum is a collection of underwater sculptures. So all of these sculptures in this museum are in the ocean and they're right at the bottom. So you can't walk into this museum in your regular clothes. You have to put on a bathing suit and a snorkel or scuba gear and dive down to see these underwater sculptures. This is a really interesting collection. This museum is a hammer museum, and it's in Alaska. And there is a giant hammer that's even bigger, even taller than the museum. And I see all different types of hammers on display in all different cool ways. This museum is in Estonia, And this is a toy museum. I'm noticing that they're different. It looks like there are different rooms in the museum. It looks like some rooms you can walk around, and here's my wonder. I'm wondering if you are allowed to play with the toys. I know in a lot of museums you're not allowed to touch things, but this is a toy museum. So that's my question. I wonder if you're wondering the same thing. Are visitors to this museum allowed to play with some of the toys? Maybe some of the toys in the big room, but not in the display cases? I'm curious about what you think. This museum is the Dog Collar Museum, and it's in Kent, England. And wow, these dog collars look very, very fancy. They also look very, very heavy. My wonder is, are these real dog collars? What do you think? This is a museum in St. Petersburg, Russia. And this is a museum that has Fabergé eggs, which is a type of sculpture. It's a small sculpture of very fancy, very decorated sculptures of eggs. And I see people looking at them. It looks like they're in display cases. This would be a really good time to pause the video and share the shapes and the colors that you notice. This is a really unique museum because this is a really tiny museum. That's the entire museum. You see the doors opening up onto the street. This is a museum in New York, which is where I'm from and where my family lives. And this museum is so small. I chose to include this collection because this collection reminds me of some of the collections that I have at my home and some of you might have. It's just collections of special things that people like for this museum. That's the theme of this museum. The theme of this museum is special collections, which is a great connection to the work that we've been doing with our collections. This is a very fun museum in Japan. This is a little bit unique. It's both a museum and a store. So this is a place where people can go and look at replica food, so fake food. And one of the reasons that people come and buy fake food at this store is to display in their restaurants. So when people walk in, they are not sure what they want to eat. They're reading the words of the menu, and then they see a really yummy looking, realistic fake food and say, oh, I want that. And some of these fake food samples look absolutely delicious. This would be a really fun museum and store to visit. And finally, we have the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix, Arizona. Something that I'm noticing about these collections in this museum is that some of the collections are arranged by country. I see one area that says Nigeria, one area that says all American bands. So they're arranged by theme, where they're from. And other collections in this museum are arranged by shape or type of musical instrument. So I hope you had a lot of fun touring these unusual museum collections with me. If you discover any other museums that you've found, any other collections, please feel free to send an email and I would love to see them. Goodbye, JK. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye.